For over a century, the haunting voice and the throaty cry of the iron horse has disappeared across the land. From the eastern seaboard to the seemingly endless plains, the diesel locomotive has taken over as the king of the railroad. The giants of yesteryear seem like nothing more than fantasies to the dreamers of today's age. One will sit with their phone gazing on, dreaming of adventures on the high iron. Of all the locomotives in the long history of the rails, one of the greatest was called Big Boy, a name that stirs in the hearts of many, for Big Boy is back, and for over 70 years he has longed to stretch his wheels. In 2026, he would get his chance to break free of the mountains, to break free of his home. Big Boy has escaped, and is now running coast to coast as long as the tracks can carry him. We start our journey in Alden, New York. A crowd of people has gathered to watch the spectacle. Kids, families, everyone of all ages has congregated here. All that's missing is the local brass band and the parade. To the uninitiated, this mass of humanity looks like chaos. To the big boy, it's a regular Tuesday. After that, we raced on over to Linden Mills. The crowds have once again rematerialized along the tracks. The big boy is currently traveling over a marvelous stretch of railroad. The Erie Lackawanna, while not known for making money, sure does provide scenic views as the big boy marches to the Atlantic. By now, the race was on. Foamers from across the nation have clogged up the roads to chase the jolly black giant. It would be from this point on that all semblance of planning had gone out the window. The next spot would only be caught by the skin of my teeth and performing a stop, drop, and roll. Quiet. Almost a little too quiet. After a cacophony of near misses and railfan chaos, we end day one at Sayre, New York, where the big boy will rest for the night, before continuing to Binghamton the next day. Almost like the mighty god Thor, Big Boy announces presence with the roar of thunder and the darkening of the skies. As the mighty train parked for the night, me and my party ran straight for the car. The weather had turned sour, and that was our cue to leave. The next day would be a short one. The 4014 only had to travel 30 miles up to Binghamton. There in town, the engine would do a Norfolk Southern Crew Appreciation event. This, of course, would be closed off to the public to avoid chaos. So, for us, we had to make every shot count.
video or a picture?
Oh, video.
Well, I tried. Not every shot is guaranteed to be a good one with Big Boy. After that small chase, me and my party decided to scout ahead for tomorrow. While in doing so, I was greeted with the happy surprise of Alcos. These M630s are a wonderful sight for me. I'm a huge fan of old Alco GE products. They have such a character and soul that their old EMD cousins lack. Now, that's not to say that I hate EMD, but if I was given the chance between a PA or an E unit, the PA wins every time. 1776 over here was probably the best surprise of the day. She is one of many 250 units currently operating over the country right now. And unlike some, 1776 is done up classy. No bald eagles, no silly orange men, just pure classic Americana from a bygone age. She is truly a gem. next day brings us to the Tunkhannock Viaduct. Coming out of the fog like a ship on the ocean, the arches come into view. This bridge, in my humble opinion, is the most impressive piece of engineering railways have ever produced. It's over 2 ocean liners long, over 200 feet high, and all made of Edwardian concrete. I think the workers of 1915 would be proud knowing that over 100 years later, their magnificent span still carries trains just like back then. As the people gathered in Woodstock fashion, a paraglider is seen flying over the bridge, entertaining the crowds. A special thank you to my good friend Chris Kovacs for taking footage of this for me. I was away from the camera for a phone call. Soon enough, the time had come. The people had gathered, the cars had blocked the views, as it was time for the main event. At 10:07 a.m., 4014 trundled onto the bridge and made his presence known throughout the land. For once in a lifetime, the rumble and roar of Big Boy echoed throughout the Erie and Lackawanna. To a thunderous crowd of onlookers, 4014 puts on a show for the ages, stopping right in the middle of the viaduct to blow off steam. The crew of the Big Boy crawl out of the cab to take pictures as they make history. Flying around them is the biggest volunteer air force the world has ever seen. The best way to describe this moment? Pure, joyous insanity.
We're currently stopped on the bridge. We're going to start moving here shortly. Over. Understood. You're following us. Thank you.
And with his long, majestic cry, the king made his way for departure.
There she goes. Sad to see her go.
No, again, we've talked about it, haven't we? I got it. Couldn't get in. Well, I realized I had already turned on me last night.
Oh, good luck. I wish you the best of luck. I think about it in my brain, but I don't think.
Need help with anything?
I'll be all right.
Great meeting you. Best of luck to you. Thank you.
After the majestic insanity that was Tunkhannock, we left once again and the chase was on, for it was paramount that we had to make it to Pittston. For the viaduct wasn't the only bit of history in the making, for today was going to be the day that the king would have a challenger to his throne. Born in the smoke and coal dust of Appalachia, was raised a different breed of iron horse, for she was not the biggest, nor the fastest, nor the most powerful locomotive, but an engine developed for reliability and purpose. Built with Reading pride and Baldwin parts, the T1 Northern was made to solve the woes of World War II's scarcity. Reading 2102 is a proud member of this magnificent breed, and today 2102 was about to make a case for her pride. For this was the day the T1 and the big boy were to race.
People be that cruel and not say anything and let everyone sit on the wrong track.
thank you to Lola, my sister in crime. She helped us big time in this chase by being our spotter. Here at mile marker 154 on the Reading and Northern, we lie in wait for the dragons. While not really racing, one cannot help but feel like a 6-year-old cheering on their favorite athlete. 2102 was the racehorse I was putting my bets on.
party ground.
Pretty far away. Should I get it ready now? Should I start recording? I'm starting.
Well, it looks like 2102 had too much fun and went into overtime. But they weren't the only ones who were having too much fun either, for me and my family decided to catch the Giants one last time. A big thank you to my dad and my brother for being the best party of chasers a girl could ask for. as the wisps of steam have all but vanished into the annals of railroading's yesterday, while he may have given way to electronics, jet power, and the mighty atom, Big Boy has marked a renaissance in public steam enthusiasm that the country has hungered for years. Big Boy was brought back, not because he could do what he was designed to do, but for he and his kin represent the apex of an age gone by. Steam has a soul, and steam has its place despite newer breeds of iron horse. For steam engines are the reason why we all love trains in the first place. The rumble and roar of a mighty engine tackling a gradient, and the long, lonesome cry of a whistle echoing forever throughout the land.